What's up? Black men should prioritize making money and being a creator rather than a laborer. Now, if you're a black man out there and you're trying to self improve and you're trying to become more financially literate, you're trying to gain a grounded identity in being a black man and loving being a black man and eating healthier and learning how to come together with other black men in order to see your community rise and to have that social connection, that communal connection, and that brotherhood with other men. If you're interested in increasing yourself in those ways, and if you're interested in increasing yourself in those ways, I have a deep dive guide on all of those things. And it just covers every topic when it comes to self-improvement, when it comes to who to look up to in black history and having that grounded identity as a black man. If you're interested in that, the link for that will be in the comments of this video, the description of this video, including my channel in the bio section. You'll see the link for that. Now, I want to be real with all of y'all. Uh, I've struggled with jumping from job to job. I've struggled with letting my emotions get the best of me when it came to, keeping a job, right? And I never want to get on here and act like I'm a person that's, uh, I don't want to come on here and act like I'm a master guru type of guy, right? Uh, but I do want to lead with authenticity, and I want to lead with being positive, and I want to lead with growth, change, and improvement. And I think that been going on this journey in my life that I want to be an entrepreneur, and that's just me being real. I want to be a person that makes money, and I don't necessarily have to be clock in for it, right? And recently, I made my first sale with a product I was selling on the internet, and that made me feel really good, even though I don't make nowhere near enough as far as um to really to live off of that. And I think it's a lot of black men out there who go through that, who you know um we know we need to make money, we know we need to take care of ourselves, we know we have to be self-sufficient. um and I just kind of want to say that it is important for us not to let our emotions get the best of us. It is important for us to um to be a black man out there who is making his own money and taking care of himself, right? And I never want to come across as a person that has mastered everything and got everything right. And I just want to say, like, I've struggled with that. And I'm still, currently in my life going through things like that where I'll jump from job to job, I'll get mad, and I think it's really that, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be at that job for the rest of my life, right? I don't want to be a worker for the rest of my life. And as much as I've talked about being a black man and being a creator, being a owner, being an entrepreneur, I know in my future, that's what I have ahead of me, being a man that makes my money the way I actually want to make it, making a living in life the way I want to make it. That comes through learning, growing, failing, and improving. That's how you get to that level of where you want to be in life. And I just think that in my life, man, and I think with a lot of other black men, we go through that where we have those things in our head when when we're getting a job, when we're trying to work, when we're trying to make money. And I would just, want to really break down that don't let your emotions get the best of you. Never place your identity inside of your job, and I think I grew up with around people who was like, oh, just work, just work, just work. Don't focus on nothing else. Just make sure you got money in your pocket. And that was advice, right? But that wasn't a thing that can really satisfy you when somebody just saying get up and go to work, right? Uh, and I believe that as I get older, I understand that I'm gonna have to lead with what I want to do in life. I'm gonna always lead with how I view myself and the type of life I want to live, and I'm gonna constantly be in pursuit of that until it's really established in my reality, right? And I think every black man should be like that. If you want to live a certain way, it's your life. You're gonna die one day. Don't ever sit back and be like, oh, I'm gonna just do what everybody tell me to do, and I'm gonna just make sure I got enough money to survive. Because it's a lot of black men I see where they just gonna sit there and go to work and come back home, have kids, and then they're gonna die one day, and then that's it. right? And I'm really realistic. It's a lot of men that are like that, and we all know that we don't want to have a mediocre life. This is why I emphasize us coming together. This is why I emphasize the black men coming together and fighting for each other, supporting each other, improving with each other. We have a purpose when we're a part of something bigger, right? When we're isolated and we have to do everything on our own, that's what gives us, that loneliness. And I feel like all of us human beings, especially in the modern day, we struggle with that because it's so much individualism. It's so much individualism, and that was really set up by the government in a lot of ways, to be, capitalistic, individualistic. It's just about you. You can't come together and you can't share. You can't have that communal type of society. And I believe the black people have to go back to that. And a lot of people have to go back to that. Black men have to put that back inside of our culture, inside of our community, so that we are part of something bigger. It's not just everybody for themselves, right? And I think one thing that I am trying to get better at is not letting my emotions get the best of me. And I think any black man watching this, don't let your emotions get the best of you. Keep your eye on your identity. Keep your eye on working on the life that you want. And I believe that a lot of people will try to gaslight you and say, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. You don't need to do anything. You need to improve and you need to go towards the life that you actually want. And sometimes within that, you might have to work a job that you don't like. You might have to do this thing that you don't like, right? And I think that that's something that a lot of us go through. A lot of us, we have those conversations in our head, like, man, like, what am I gonna do? I'm not making money. I'm dependent on these people and on that people, but don't give up on yourself. You can always change your life and improve, and never sit back and say, I'm gonna just settle and I'm gonna just be like this instead of doing what I actually want to do. That's only gonna create being miserable. That's only gonna create regret, and that's only going to create a life that you just don't want. And why do people get depressed and want to hurt themselves? It's not because they have a genetic issue. Most people who are depressed and want to hurt themselves, it's because they have a life that they don't want. They have a life that they don't like living, right? So that's the important thing we have to understand. Live life how you want to live, and live life in pursuit of who you want to become, the lifestyle you want, and how you want to make your living. And I think you should lead with that because, regardless of what people may tell you, you do what you want to do in life and you do what makes you happy, right? And that's what I'm going to forever lead with. I'm never going to sit back and say, oh man, they saying I'm not good enough, so I gotta go back and I just gotta do this and I ain't gotta. No, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Peace out.